Reese Davis. It's all.
The confluence of Pittsburgh's iconic Three Rivers. These waterways were the path to prominence as the city became the steel capital of the world. Modern Pittsburgh is still girded by belief that going through fire purifies, hardens, and refines. Tonight, the first 32 men forged by their own fires, decked out in bespoke suits, often detailing their own journey, will realize a dream that shows their talent, the resolve, the support group that they had around them for this night when they will be drafted into the NFL and walk this pathway to the stage, the culmination of a lifetime of hard work to become a first-round pick. But with that, the realization that the fires of challenge is just beginning. But it starts from the place of the mountaintop for those who will hear their names called in the 2026 NFL Draft.
Welcome. The NFL Draft is now officially open.
Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock.
Let's go! And we're coming to your city. The college football party on and on. Well, we rode out through Death Valley, Boom, Osuna, Gig'em, Aggies, through our Longhorns up in Austin along the way.
Roll Tide rolled through Alabama, Happy Valley, and the Farming Stanford Rally. He went from War Eagle on the plains.
Ride the big ass Gator Swamp, 5 nights in the Tomahawk Chop. On USC, the Buckeyes, the Georgia Dogs, come on.
I'm talking Louisiana, California, Carolina, Colorado, Mississippi, Oregon, Kentucky. Are you ready?
It's Reese Curry. Saban, McAfee. It's going down. You can feel the electricity. We want to stay. That's so much fun. College game. And we're coming to your city. College football party on and
College Game Day. Live from the NFL Draft in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, is built by the Home Depot. Proud sponsor of college football's premier pregame show.
Every little kid who has ever put on shoulder pads, buckled their chin straps, dream of this night when they will be selected into the NFL Draft. And you could not draw up a more picture-perfect setting. An absolute spectacular day in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Point State Park, right outside Acrisure Stadium, home of the 6-time Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers. The terrible towels you're going to see, plenty of them tonight. The Las Vegas Raiders will make the first selection. They will officially be on the clock in just a little under 3 hours. And we are expecting, in this city that loves football like few others, more than 500,000 people over the course of 3 days. Maybe if the weather continues to cooperate like this, 750,000 people. Glad to have you with us on College Game Day. Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, Desmond Howard, and Nick Saban. All kinds of coverage for you. Of course, the ESPN has coverage of the NFL Draft. We will be on ABC, focusing on the journey of the players as they get to this moment of their lifetime. And of course, the Pat McAfee Draft Spectacular will be available on all kinds of platforms, including the ESPN app. But Kirk, you think about it. If you want a city that loves football, to have guys realize a dream, I mean, all you got to do is look at them and they start waving the towels. What a spot this is.
this is what we've been to Cleveland. We've been to some great cities for this draft, but I don't know if there's another city that embodies what football is about more than Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You go all the way down to the Pee Wee leagues, the high school, the college, and of course the pro. We saw a great documentary last night with Pat McAfee where he voiced it, really talking about what this city is about. And this is a great city to be in, to have a culmination of these dreams, these lifelong dreams for these players come true right here in Pittsburgh. Very cool.
Unfortunately, I had to live through this. We never won here when I was at the Dolphins. 4 years at the Cleveland Browns as defensive coordinator, never won here.
Yeah.
And, you know, I grew up about 125 miles south of here.
Yeah.
So everybody in town, including myself, was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Yeah.
When I go to the Cleveland Browns, I obviously can't be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Right.
I would get 100 tickets when we played the Steelers here.
Uh-huh.
And I would think, well, these people would be rooting for me,
Yeah,
right?
no chance.
I looked up at the section
All you
where
saw.
I had them the tickets. All I saw was this right here.
Oh, man, Coach, will you feel my pain? Because I grew up 2 hours away from here in Cleveland, Ohio. So this is like my arch rival. But on top of that, Hurst, you know I grew up a Cowboys fan.
Oh, yeah. I'm
And
right there
man,
with
oh
you.
man, Terry Bradshaw, Lynn Swan, John Stallworth, they used to give my Cowboys the business. So
Yeah.
I feel your pain, Coach. But this is a great football town, great football city. We had a great time. We came here for the Notre Dame game.
Yeah.
Didn't work out that well for Pitt.
No.
But we had a fantastic time. And I'm just so happy to be here for the draft today.
And this is a special night for you. Now, much like Fernando Mendoza, who's going to celebrate with his family at home being selected, you were at home on your draft night when you were first round pick. What was that like?
Yeah, I was. And Fernando Sr., he invited me to the draft party, but I told him I got obligations. I wouldn't be able to make it. But I had a draft party. I was with my parents. I was with my friends.
Hey, we've lost your mic here.
Yeah, we lost
Right
your
here.
mic.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear that
I
story.
know, I want to
now.
hear this story.
Yeah, me too.
But, hey, we'll
Yeah.
start working on Desmond's mic, or else he and I will share one. We're good friends like that. We can work it out. There are a lot of draft storylines to follow in this draft. I don't know that it's going to be rich in quarterbacks, but it could be rich in impact players, and certainly it starts with the guy that Las Vegas is going to take #1 overall.
Yeah, it's been talked about for months now that Fernando Mendoza will be that first pick overall to the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's just look at the quarterback position. This guy, he played at Cal 2 years ago. Really, to me, showed what he could do in winning big games. Ty Simpson's being talked about as possibly being #2. Will he go tonight? But don't forget about Carson Beck, Garrett Nussmeier. There's other quarterbacks to take a peek at, and eventually we'll be going here, whether tonight or tomorrow.
I tell you what, how about my guy right there, #4, Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame. Excellent receiver out of the backfield, jumps over guys, runs through them and runs around them. And then this guy, who shared the backfield with Jadarian Price. He returned 2 kickoffs for touchdowns. And then, hey, I think this guy's a sleeper. Mike Washington Jr. of Arkansas. Keep an eye on him. 6'1", weighing a 4'3", 40.
I think if you look at the big picture in this first round of this draft, though, it's going to be dominated up front on offense. There's 6 or 7 offensive linemen that can get picked in the first round. These guys are talented, but they're smart, tough, and reliable, and they're the safest pick in the draft. Less failures in offensive linemen than any other position.
And the offensive lineman will be called on to protect against guys like David Bailey from Texas Tech, who led the nation in sacks. Arvell Reese is a great pass rusher from Ohio State. He's going to go quickly. He's also versatile, can play all over the defense. And then some may like Reuben Bain. Go through the pre-draft process. His arms are too short. His game is not short. In fact, what usually happens is he makes plays all over the field for a team that made it to the national championship game before losing to Fernando Mendoza and Indiana. Of course, we're following all of the news throughout the night. Pete Thamel and Adam Schefter are with us right now. So we know what's going to happen right at the top, Shefty, but then after that might be where the intrigue begins.
Well, Reese, let me just say also, Coach Saban's a winner here tonight with that opening presentation. Awesome job. His first victory in Cleveland. Congratulations, Coach. Coach. As for the top of the draft, the New York Jets effectively are on the clock at number 2 tonight with the Raiders settled in on Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. The Jets are deciding between 2 pass rushers, David Bailey, Arvell Reese. We'll see which one they pick tonight. Then it sets up for Arizona at number 3. There have been teams calling, trying to come up. If the Cardinals can get the right price, they would move out of 3. If not, they stay there. And the conversation could involve and will involve Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love. We'll see if they sit there and take him. The Titans are waiting to see what the Cardinals do because they would have some interest in Love. And, of course, the New York Giants at number 5. They would like to see if one of these pass rushers potentially slides down to them. A lot of intrigue at the top of the draft. We'll see how it all unfolds tonight, Pete.
Well, you mentioned sliding. One player who slid recently, Adam, is Jermod McCoy, corner from Tennessee. He's a top 10 caliber talent. The problem is there's some ambiguity over his recovery from a torn ACL. He tore it in January 25, didn't play all this season. I was told by multiple executives today to not be surprised if he doesn't go at all tonight, despite that high-end talent. As for Jordan Tyson, he will go tonight. He'll go early. NFL head coach told me today Tyson has blown up. We could see him as early as 5 in play at the Giants or with a trade. Well, I don't see him going past 10 from talking to people around the league today, Adam. And then there's Caden Proctor, the talented tackle from Alabama. He's built like a Frigidaire. He's 6'7", he's 350, but there are a lot of questions of whether his potential is going to match his production. He had shaky film at Alabama. He struggled with some weight gain. Look for the Lions at 17 to be about the place where his market starts.
All right, guys, and of course, we always have to have you guys watching everything. It was last year in the draft, and all of a sudden, just moments before we started, the big blockbuster trade between the Jaguars and Cleveland that ended up sending the Heisman Trophy winner from a year ago, Travis Hunter, to Jacksonville. So you heard all the breakdowns. Teams might be willing to move around. How would you describe, Nick, what kind of draft this is?
Well, I think if you talk to most GMs that I had the opportunity to talk to, you know, they talk about 10 or 12 really impact players. So once you get past those 10 or 12 players, then you got to make a decision. Are you going to pick for value or are you going to pick for need? And what I mean by that, you know, when I was in college, you just had to say, all right, these are the 5 best offensive tackles. Let's get one. Here's the 5 best corners. Let's get one. But when you look at an NFL board, you got a 9-point system. This tackle is a 7.5. This corner is a 7.2. Do we take the corner that we need or the tackle that has more value? I think that's the decision that everybody has to wrestle with and make a decision about. And I think the impact of what's happened in college is now affecting the NFL in terms of typically there would be 90 to 100 juniors in the draft, which would make the draft much deeper. You know, now this year there's 35 or 40 guys that are juniors in the draft, so it's a little bit more selective. Plus you got the age differential. You got some of these juniors coming out that are 20 years old, and we've got like almost 50 players that are 25 and 26 years old, which makes a huge difference if you're going to make an investment in a player as to whether they get the second contract and how long is their career going to be with your organization.
And if you're at home wondering, well, why aren't there any juniors that are out here in this draft? It's because of this new NIL rule where players are now able to say, hey, I'm going to stay in college. I'm going to make good money and stay in college instead of maybe going and being a 3rd-round pick. Why not just stay in college, help my draft stock for the next year, and also I can make some money along the way. So I think that's going to be a trend that the NFL is going to have to adjust to and get used to because that's the new norm. It's not just this year. That's going to be the new norm. But I think Arizona, Des, is an example of what Coach is talking about. Arizona has running backs. You know, they got a couple backs. Listening to everybody talk about their mock drafts, there's a very good chance maybe the best player in the entire draft is sitting there at number 3. It's not necessarily a need, but how do you pass on potentially Jeremiah Love, who's a dynamic playmaker, or do you go for the need where they need a lot of things as they rebuild there with Mike LaFleur?
No doubt about that. To piggyback on what Coach was saying, I think that it's either you going with production or you going with projects. And when I say production, I mean guys who are proven. When Coach said maybe about 12 guys to 15 guys have like 1st-round grades, those guys have been very productive at the collegiate level. When you look at projects, it's guys who woo you at the combine or woo you at pro day, but they don't have the numbers as far as productivity that you would expect. So you look at this group and you say, okay, this may be a project. We think we can get him on our team and we can make him hit his potential or reach his potential. So that's what I think we're seeing right now, especially in the 1st round. There's going to be a lot of Robins drafted to be Batman tonight.
Well, you know, the one thing that in the 8 drafts that I sat through, that I always saw happen is in the beginning, you look at the tape and you look at football players. Then you go to the combine and you see all these guys that are like workout kings, man.
Yeah.
And they move up and the assistants are saying, we got to have that guy, man. He can really run or whatever. But when you get closer to the draft, you always go back to the film.
That's right.
Because you're going to take the best football players.
And I think one thing to remember, just because there's 12 to 14 true first-rounders, these NFL rosters that win championships, they're built on 4th-round picks, 6th-round picks, free agents. So there is plenty of talent over the next 3 days to be taken to help these
Exactly.
NFL rosters.
Only 32 can be first rounders.
The other thing, too, I submit to you as evidence, a former Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy.
There you go.
Things have worked out pretty well for
Yeah.
him as a quarterback of the
Yeah.
San Francisco 49ers. He was the last guy taken in the draft. So maybe those diamonds in the rough will show up over the next 3 days, but the first rounders go tonight. Still to come on College Game Day outside Acrisure Stadium. Pittsburgh electric and ready for this draft, and the Heisman Trophy winner and the presumptive #1 overall pick, Fernando Mendoza, will join us live from Miami, his family's draft party, as they celebrate his milestone moment. Marcus Freeman, Jeremiah Love's head coach at Notre Dame, and Ryan Day, who may have half of the first 6 picks in the draft taken and maybe more in the top 10 before it's all over, will join us. And Nick Saban will put together his ultimate roster of the top draft prospects on both sides of the ball.
ESPN's Draft Takeover is powered by Shopify.
You're never gonna get my love.
College Game Day is built by the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Heisman Trophy winner, Fernando Mendoza. 2 years ago, Indiana was the losingest program in the history of the sport. They started their resurgence under Curt Cignetti, and then in year 2, when Fernando Mendoza arrived on the scene, the Hoosiers were perfect. 16-0. He's the first Heisman Trophy winner in Hoosier history. He is about to become the 4th Heisman winner drafted by the Raiders franchise. The previous 3 are all in the Hall of Fame. He was the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year and Quarterback of the Year, and he can become the 6th player to win the Heisman, win the national title, and be drafted #1 overall. And that's what the Las Vegas Raiders are certainly going to do. Jen Latta is in the green room where there will be plenty of excitement, starting with when the Raiders go on the clock. Jen.
It is a gorgeous green room this evening in Pittsburgh, Reese, but one of the guys, as you mentioned, who will not be experiencing it is Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner. He will instead be in Miami. I'm told there'll be about 120 people outside of his home at a location, and then inside he'll be celebrating this evening with his immediate family. That includes his dad, Fernando, his mom, Elsa, and his 2 brothers, Alberto and Max. And when you talk about Fernando's story, it is obviously about a guy who has bet on himself at every turn. Let's go back to high school. That is where he realized at a young age that he was going to have a running offense and he would not get the opportunity to throw the ball very much. So he made a tough decision to transfer to Christopher Columbus High School. It was a decision that paid off. He got better and they ended up winning a state title. Then, of course, he went to Cal, but in between he was supposed to go to Yale. Cal ended up working out, and then he went to Indiana. He called it a big swing. In fact, the only person he knew at Indiana was his younger brother, Alberto. It was that leap of faith that ultimately led to the undefeated season, the national title, and the Heisman Trophy. At every single turn, Fernando Mendoza has bet on himself. He trusted his gut, he trusted his work ethic, and he trusted the support staff around him. I talked to head coach Curt Cignetti this morning, and I said, can you believe how all of this has shaken out for your former quarterback? He said Fernando earned it all between the white lines, his preparation and his performance. He's wired the right way. He said you're rewarded for how you play in critical moments, and Fernando responded every time, adding, I've never been around anyone like him. Reese?
Jen, he was brilliant. We talk a lot about with quarterbacks the clutch gene, and really for a lot of athletes, that's something that might be innate. It can also be trained. Mendoza did everything to be clutch, and he was great in just about every moment.
If you look at his physical ability when he was coming out of Cal, got it.
Oh, man,
yeah, thank you. When he was coming out of Cal over to Indiana, we all we thought, that's a pretty good transfer. Like Josh Hoover right now. What you just described was the difference. He got into some situations this past year where he had to make plays. He had to understand pre-snap coverage and guys moving around. And I think that's when he started to get everybody's attention. Use the Penn State game as an example. See, in their 4th quarter, they're up by 3 on the road. Penn State's desperate to get a win. Makes a poor decision. Came off from the left, works to the right. Give Penn State credit. Safety breaks on the ball, steps in front. That leads to a go-ahead score. Indiana has to drive to the length of the field. You know about this catch, but this drive, the ability to come back from adversity, down 4, 36 seconds to go, pressure in his face. Omar Cooper makes the catch of the year, but let's not forget what he did, Mendoza, to lead him down to be able to put them in a position to score. Here's the Rose Bowl early in this game. Recognizes pre-snap. He's got cover 0. Safety bites down in that underneath crosser. He's got leverage to the outside. These are all things that happen in a millisecond, but he has an ability with all his preparation to see the matchups to his advantage. Takes advantage of it there for a touchdown. Here, 2:30 to go, up 3. National championship, a lot of pressure. Again, sees the safety shaded into the boundary. He's going to go back to the field where there's more room to work. That back shoulder fade. How many times do we see him throw that pass? The accuracy and the understanding of where that ball needs to be. But guys, I think we all agree it's how he did it and when he did it. Played his best football, in my opinion, when the pressure was on or the stage was the biggest and the brightest. And I think that's why the Raiders really fell in love with him.
No doubt, this guy is the real deal, in my opinion. You know, he's accurate. He's a good decision maker. He has really good judgment. He's made critical plays in critical situations in games. I think his athleticism is a little underrated because he made plays with his feet when he had to. But this guy can make all the throws. He can drive it. He can layer it. He can throw it deep, back shoulder. He's a really good player.
You guys talked about his attributes. One thing that I wanted to know about, I talked to his father, Senior. I said, tell me about his competitive juices. Like, does he have that competitive gene? He said, when Fernando gets hit, he takes a big hit. That's when he levels up his game. He cited the Big Ten championship game. First play of the game, Fernando was laid out. I'm watching that game. I think that young man's night is over. It's done. 2 plays later, he came back into the game and led them on a victory, a Big Ten championship victory over the undefeated Ohio State Buckeyes. He said, Desmond, that's what gets Fernando's juices going. When he gets a big hit like that, that's when he becomes more defiant as a player.
And think of all that, Des. All the physical attributes, ability to make plays pre-snap and post-snap with movement, and then having the toughness. I mean, it's like checking every box guys like this are looking for from a quarterback.
You called the Miami game.
Yeah.
He was getting pummeled that game.
Yeah. Right.
That last run for that touchdown.
Kept getting up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But bounced off a guy who had taken a shot that should have been called targeting for Miami a year before. Everything has come full circle for Fernando Mendoza. He's avenged every doubter and has a chance tonight to avenge even more when he will become the #1 overall pick in this NFL draft. Field Yates is with us. He's a draft expert, follows this all year long, and of course this is a quarterback-hungry league. But as you look at the best guys available at the top, we're going to have a quarterback go #1, and then after that, don't know if we'll see another quarterback tonight. We'll talk about that a little bit later on as the night unfolds. So Field is joining us now. So Field, what are some of the storylines you're watching as we get ready to start this draft?
Yeah, Reese, great to be with you all once again. And you kind of mentioned right there that we might have a second quarterback taken tonight. That, of course, would be Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson. Teams at the very top of the draft order beyond the Las Vegas Raiders do need a quarterback, and the New York Jets at #2 and the Arizona Cardinals at #3. Seems extremely unlikely that Ty Simpson will go that high. But as we get into the middle portion of the first round, could we see some activity from teams that either have a short-term need or a longer-term need for a quarterback like Ty Simpson? If nothing happens during the teens or even the early 20s, one of the dynamics that we are always talking about for quarterbacks is the potential for a team to move into late in the first round, like the New York Giants did last year. After taking Abdul Carter 3rd overall, they moved back up into the first round to take Jackson Dart, a move that a year later looks very smart. There's an extra year of contract control, and of course, you secure the player that you want. So Ty Simpson, and whether he goes tonight, does loom very large. As far as another storyline that we are talking about, could there be some trades tonight? We're always looking for trade activity. This may not be a draft with a bunch of blue chip players that we're going to see some gigantic move up like the Houston Texans in 2023 to land pass rusher Will Anderson, but we could see some tinkering around the board as teams find players they are higher on than the rest of the league or the teams that are picking just a few spots ahead of them.
First time tonight, I'll say it. It's an inexact science. No matter how long you study it, Field will be all over this for us, keeping us up to date with his best available. You know who was right behind Mendoza, best available? That man who played running back for Marcus Freeman, Jeremiah Love. So running back's not a premium position anymore. How high would you take Love if you're an NFL coach? Marcus Freeman will join us when you come back.
today.
He's loving it.
Our draft stats built by the Home Depot. Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love. Look what he did for the Fighting Irish this past season. 138 yards per game from scrimmage, 21 touchdowns scored. That broke Pittsburgh icon Jerome Bettis's Notre Dame record by putting up those huge numbers. The guy's going to hear his name called very early. Jeremiah Love with Molly McGrath.
Jeremiah, you said it feels surreal to be here. What were your emotions when you walked out onto this red carpet with your family?
Happy, excited, a little bit nervous. You know, this is the biggest stage of my life so far, so I want to make sure I'm ready for it. But I mean, it's surreal, like you said. You know, it's a blessing to be here. Never thought I would be here, and the fact that I am here is because of God. So all glory to God, all glory to my family for putting in the work to get me here, and then shoot, I gotta repay them all.
And I understand you have custom lining in your suit. Can you show us and explain the significance?
Of course I can. So on this side, I got my Jeremiah Star Comic X Sharpie, partnered up with Sharpie to create this great illustration right here. And then on this side, there's some football pictures of my career in Notre Dame. Nothing too crazy, but the highlight of this whole suit is this interior liner here of the Jeremiah Star X Sharpie, you know. Sharpie helped me bring to life my my comic Jeremiah Star, which means a lot to me because I love comics. You know, outside of football, that's pretty much all I do is read or watch anime, read manga, and read comics as well. So for Sharpie to buy into me and to buy into that means the world to me because I just feel like I'm sharing a little bit of part of myself to other people.
Well, thanks for your time. Enjoy tonight, Jeremiah.
Of course.
Molly, Jeremiah, thank you. And clearly, the benefits of a Notre Dame education when it comes to marketing, very evident. Jeremiah Love, the Fighting Irish head coach Marcus Freeman is joining us now. Marcus, you guys had so much success together. You get to this point in a draft, and people talk about premium positions and premium draft choices. Why is Jeremiah Love, as a running back, worth spending a premium pick on at that position?
Well, I just think that there's so much he can do. The value he brings in not just the run game, but the pass game, protection, lead blocker. There's not many things he can't do. And I think he has a unique ability to run through you, to jump over you, to stay on his feet when he's spinning off a guy. I mean, he's so athletic. Freaky athletic is what I tell him. But he's a unique football player. I always say he's a unicorn. And man, whoever gets him is going to get a great player.
Marcus, when you look at the other side, just put your hat on as a defensive coach, defensive-minded coach, and you see a back of that caliber, and again, not just hitting an A-gap and creasing the safeties and going for 80, but all the things that he brings to the table. In the NFL, is a defensive mind. What do you think he'll do at the next level that presents so many problems for the NFL?
Yeah, it's what do you have to identify him as what? Is he a running back? Are you going to be in base personnel with 3 linebackers? Do you treat him as a guy that can go out into the wideout position and put a nickel on the field? Because he's going to create a mismatch no matter what you decide to do defensively. And so if you put an extra backer in the box, then you're going to motion him out, and there's going to be a mismatch in the pass game. And that's what makes him so valuable, is that he has an answer for whatever you decide to do defensively with his skill set.
Right.
Yeah, Coach, I tell you what, he was one of my favorite players all year long. I got a chance to speak to his dad, Jason, at the Heisman, and he was very thankful that I gave his son credit. Everyone's talking about all these quarterbacks. I'm like, guys, look at number 4 at Notre Dame. He's special. Let me show you guys what makes my guy Love special to me. Just roll the tape. 6'1", 212 pounds, fast, athletic. Here he is. You talked about spinning, Coach, and then keeping his footing. I mean, this was utterly ridiculous. A guy comes off the edge. He's able to break that tackle, but then here comes 3 more defenders. He does a sit and spin, gets up on his feet, and then races down the sideline for a touchdown. You know what type of imagination you got to have to be able to think of that and then execute it in real time? And then here he is against USC. Talking about jumping over guys, like you said, keeping his feet. Watch this. Coach, I don't know, you're a little younger than me, but I remember a guy in the Olympics named Carl Lewis. This looks like that long jump from the Olympics in the way, but he stayed on his feet and raced down the sideline, and we were all here at the Orange Bowl. He had a brace on his right knee. He was in pain, but you guys needed it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Went through 5 Penn receivers to score that touchdown. I mean, he has a will that will not be denied.
He loves the game. He loves the game. And as you see, he'll jump over you, he'll duck his shoulder.
Yeah.
He's a unique talent.
But, you know, you've told me before that you coached him to do all this. I mean, in my opinion, this guy is a weapon, and I think you've described that. You know, we had Jahmyr Gibbs, who probably played great for us, but made even a more significant impact, you know, in the NFL. And I kind of feel like, you know, Jeremiah Love can do the same thing. Tell me why you think he'll do that.
Well, I think he loves the game, Coach. He's willing to work and prepare, but he's also learning now how to take care of your body, how to be proactive and not reactive to making sure you give your body the best chance to perform on game day. And so as he continues to gain that wisdom and be proactive in his preparation, learn the different aspects of the game, I think he can play this game a long time. Now, he plays the game physically. Right? And so sometimes as a head coach, I watch and I go, is he going to get hurt? And I know you can't think like that, but he plays the game hard. So he'll continue to learn when to get down, when to get that extra yard. But I think he can play the game like a
Bijan Robinson type of guy, or Jahmyr, that type of back.
But I have one more question for you. Having spent lots of years in the green room, having quite a few guys get drafted, what's it feel like for you to be in that green room with a player who gave so much to your program, and now he has the opportunity to bring to fruition his dreams? How does that make you feel?
I tell you what, I'm so excited for him. We have practice tomorrow morning. We got meetings at 6:45, and I told him, if you want me here, I'll be here. And because that's what I believe as a head coach, you got to be what your player needs. And he wanted me to be here, and without hesitation, I'm going to be here to support him. And I told him to enjoy this day, because tomorrow you got to wake up and go back to work. You got to do the things that gave you a chance to get drafted tonight. And so enjoy this moment. It's like a win. Enjoy it. Tomorrow morning, get back to work and start trying to be that person you are.
You know, they always tell me how hard I was to work for. We never had a meeting at 6:45 after the draft. Come on.
We got class. We got to go to class. I got to get him out there so he can go to class.
Hey, well, Coach, I was able to get my hands on one of his comic books, Jeremiah Star. And since you're here, can you please get him to ink this for me? I would appreciate that.
Listen, I don't know. I just saw that necklace he has on, and I said, he hasn't been drafted yet.
Yeah.
You know, so that NIL money or money from this,
exactly.
It must be, I know where part of that money's going to.
What would be your character in there?
Ooh. You know, this is his thing. I'm just the side. I'm on the side. I'm just on the side somewhere.
Marcus, I got to ask you one college football question. You guys got shortchanged at the end of the year. You didn't say anything about this isn't fair, what happened, the system isn't right. Can you teach a class on that? Like, what made you just take the high road and not feel like you needed to stand on top of the mountain and say how unfair the system was to you?
Yeah, I just believe you sleep in the bed you make, and you take advantage of what's given. Right? What was given to us, we got to make the most of it. We're not going to make excuses. This was our schedule. We should have won every game we played. We didn't. Learn from it. Keep the pain at times when we need motivation to struggle today. But we got to take advantage of what's right in front of us, right? And that's an opportunity. We got practice 14 tomorrow, and we're going to go back to work. I just don't believe in passing blame. And maybe it's my father, maybe it's been coaches in my life, because if you pass blames, you don't own it, and you don't learn to struggle and grow from it. Right? If you blame somebody else for your situation, well, how do you learn from it and grow from it? And so we got to own it, and we're going to learn from it and grow from it.
Yeah, I love
it.
Great point.
Great point. National championship next year. Marcus might have two guys selected tonight. Jadarian Price, another standout running back for you. Thanks for spending some time with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Marcus Freeman, the head coach of the Fighting Irish. Price, Jeremiah Love, a great 1-2 punch in the backfield. Jen Latta joins us once again to more on Jeremiah.
Yeah, guys, I'm here in the green room, in the corner where Jeremiah Love and his family will be stationed this evening. I talked to Jeremiah Love's family earlier this week and asked him how's he been navigating the weeks leading up to the NFL draft. His father, Jason, told me he's been excited and calm, mostly unfazed by the entire process. And he told me a story. He said that a few weeks ago they had a celebration of life for Jeremiah's great-grandmother, 93 years old. And he said at one point he looked over during the celebration celebration of life. And there was his son, Jeremiah, a few weeks away from being a first-round draft pick. And he was cleaning up the plates, he was cleaning up the cups, he was bagging up the garbage and taking it out to the curb. And he said that's when he knew he has not been phased. He's still humble, even though there's been so much hype surrounding it. Jeremiah has had an unbelievable journey. It has not been without his challenges, but he's always been so comfortable in his own skin. And he's found a way to share his journey with football fans. Take a look.
My comic book, the name is Jeremiah Star, came out this past October. The inspiration really came from my dad. He knew that I loved anime and I love comics and I love manga. It took about 5 years to get it all to come to fruition. Just wanted to tell my story because my upbringing was a little bit unique, and it came up with the comic idea. I went through some challenges growing up with school and just had some social challenges as well. My parents took me to the doctor and was talking to the doctor about me having some potential autism tendencies. Never got diagnosed for it, but it just really highlights some challenges that I had just growing up and how it just molded me into who I am today. It's honestly pretty cool to see it, just come to life, just getting to see my story told in a way that I love.
Molly was talking about it just a few moments ago, and I know Desmond got his hand on one of these comics books as well. It will be released to coincide with the first round of the NFL draft. But if you're looking for Jeremiah's next comic book, the second edition of his Jeremiah Star is going to come out when the NFL season kicks off. So you know what, Des? I'm going to be here with Jeremiah. I'll see if I can get this inked for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I think she can get it done. College Game Day rolls on from Pittsburgh. Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson. How long will his wait be tonight? He's decided to be in the green room. Will he be the second quarterback taken on this first night of 2026 NFL Draft from Pittsburgh?
I'm feeling the jetway. You already know which way we going. That way.
There might be a lot of people flashing to you in this first round tonight. There is Ruben Bain Jr., first-team All-American for the Hurricanes, who made it all the way to the national championship game. Bain was a disruptor for sure. Might be one of 3 Hurricanes to go in the first round. Projected first-round picks, according to our buddy Field Yates in his mock draft. Francis Mauigoa, the offensive lineman, projected to go 11th. Bain then, and his running mate on defense, Akeem Mesidor, also a projected first-round pick, according to Field. So as we get ready for the start of this 2026 draft here in Pittsburgh, a lot of edge rushers, a lot of tackles ready to be taken, and Jen Latta with a coach who has a couple of each. Mario Cristobal with Jen.
Yeah, here in the green room with Mario Cristobal, Miami head coach, and you guys have a lot of juice headed into this year's draft, anywhere from 2 to 4 guys who could hear their names called this evening. What is your message to those young men as they stand at the doorstep of this incredible night?
Well, the first message is going to be to them and their families: enjoy your day, because this was earned, right? All that hard work has been validated and promises fulfilled. You know, we had an agreement 3 and 4 years ago that we were going to work. We were going to win at a high level, that we were going to graduate, and then we were going to end up right here in the green room. And so today the day belongs to them. We're here to support them and have them in just take it all in and have fun.
You guys did a lot of winning last year, and it was a huge part of the offensive line and defensive lines. Why do you think you've had that type of success in the trenches?
Well, I think that overall as a program that we have a very unique way of approaching development in the trenches, and we have, you know, as the years go by, we feel like we're becoming that school, that university that develops those positions at a higher level than anyone else. But we have a lot of work to do still. It's another great year in terms of that. But that's what we want to be, and the validation is right here for everyone to see. So we're looking forward to a great night for our guys.
When you think of these young men, what is an NFL team getting a Miami man getting?
Oh, relentless competitors. These guys, they know how to work. They are super tough. They're really, really smart. And you know what they do? They put team first, everything. As it relates to everything, it's team first. It's a want-to-know mentality. They're getting absolute dogs on the field and elite human beings off the field.
Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jen, Mario, thank you. 2 of the 3 Hurricanes projected to go in the first round are on defense. Field's best available on defense, highlighted by stars from Ohio State. We welcome in Joey Galloway, an Ohio State product himself. He used to wreak havoc on defenses back in the day. And before Nick Saban became the greatest head coach in the history of college football, a defensive guru, a savant. So who better than Nick to give us an all-defense draft team to start with? So, Nick, let's look at this. We're not going into nickel personnel packages just yet. Here's the all-defense draft. See the guys on the corners and the back end. But let's start up front. One of the best positions in this draft, deepest position, edge guys, most notably Arvell Reese and David Bailey.
I think the strength of this draft is probably the edge guys and the defensive secondary. We're going to start with Arvell Reese here. You're going to see him close number 8, spill, spin, make the tackle for no gain. This guy is so athletic, and he can run for his size. Here he's going to mirror the quarterback, come off the rush. Look at this guy close and pressure the quarterback. Outstanding athletic skills for his size. And then if you really want to see a pass rusher, just watch this one. Dip and rip. Sack. Guy's really talented and is really going to be a good player and probably has his best football ahead of him. Then you got David Bailey, who probably has as much production as anybody in this draft. Lots of people question playing the run. You just saw him play the run, but watch this pass rush. You're talking about first step quickness that's unmatched, dip and rep on the edge, can turn speed to power. This guy is really, really going to be something. 29 sacks in his career. Up front, Caleb Banks, who only played in 3 games this year, so we decided to show you a play on him. This guy is probably the most athletic guy in the defensive line group. He's got great size and really can move his feet and his hands. So roll the tape here on him. You're going to see it here against LSU. Strike out of his hips, use his hands, overarm the guy, cause a fumble, sack the quarterback. This guy's really, really talented. And then my favorite player in the whole draft, who maybe is one of my favorite players that I ever coached, is Caleb Downs. Now, if you do a highlight film on this guy, you got to do a lot of work because he makes more plays than anybody else, so it's tough to pick him out. But we picked out 3. Right here, you're going to see them. They're playing cover 1, man free. He's rat in the hole. Look at the break on the ball and then disconnects the ball from the receiver. Knocks the ball off of him. Very physical player. Then you're going to see him here on the blitz. Great acceleration, great burst, finishes on the quarterback. And then the last thing is some people question whether this guy can play in a deep part of the field. I mean, that is absolutely false. Watch him break on this ball. Great anticipation. Breaks the pass up. Causes an interception for his team. And this guy is made of all the right stuff, man. Caleb Downs is a dog.
Coach, I want to ask you, when you're looking to evaluate some of these guys, they have talent, but you don't see it every down. They take downs off in college. How does the NFL evaluate some of these guys on your list that are talented, but they take plays off and they go away for 2 or 3 quarters?
Well, I think that means a lot. I think if someone does not play every down, that's a negative. That means there's something missing in that guy's competitive character, and competitive character is what's going to drive a guy to be the best player that he can be, which is what every NFL team would like to have, every college team would like to have in their players, great competitors.
Yeah, the biggest difference to me when I watch kids now, that front line and that second line, how athletic they are, how fast they are. And that's when the NFL started to change for me when I was playing, was all of a sudden those big guys like Banks, they're running really fast, they look really athletic, and now you got to worry about those guys, not only in the backfield, but making plays down the field. You look at a guy like Sonny Styles, that kind of athleticism, that ability to move around the way he does, that makes a defense, it gives the defense an ability to do anything you want coverage-wise or stopping the run.
Yeah, everybody talks about hybrid players on offense, but I think now we're seeing in the NFL those hybrid players like a Sonny Styles on defense because they can do so much, and same with Arvell Reese. Let's look at Sonny Styles, and I think we all knew, we followed him throughout his career. I didn't follow him when he was in high school, great high school hooper, but I think he exploded onto the national scene because of what he did at the Combine. I mean, you're talking about a whole different level of an athlete at 6'5", 245, ran a 4.46, had a 43-inch vertical. You just don't see. I mean, Coach had a lot of great players in Tuscaloosa. There aren't a whole lot of guys that have that kind of physical attributes. And I think he really grew and changed. I mean, he started early in his career as a safety. Mentioned he was a basketball player, so he's comfortable playing out in space. But as as his career moved on, he went from being back in the back as a safety, where he had to get comfortable in coverage and watch his eyes, be able to locate where the receiver is, be able to find work, as they say, and be able to separate the receiver there from the ball. And then the big thing, I think the growth that he made was his second year as a linebacker in Matt Patricia's system, was being able to come down quicker, being able to read and react, and not giving those offensive linemen much of a chance to be able to make plays on him at the second level. So I think this is what you're getting now. It's a guy that, by the way, his dad, Joey, played with at Ohio State, Lorenzo Styles Sr., who is a great player. He grew up in a football family and has a very mature approach to the game, Des.
I agree with you 100%. I tell you what, and the value is at the edge rushers, like you talked about earlier, Coach. My only concern is a lot of these guys, they're edge rushers, right? They want to chase the quarterback. They want to hunt the quarterback. How physical are these guys going to be at the next level against the run? I spoke to David Bailey. He even admitted, I still have to get much better defending the run. So, it's okay to want to chase quarterbacks, but make sure you're physical and you're stout and you can hold the edge against the run.
A lot of money in chasing that quarterback.
He's going to have great short area quickness tonight is Ryan Day.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be
moving around that green room. All of those Buckeyes that are going to be drafted tonight. Buckeyes head coach will join us live here on College Game Day from Pittsburgh coming up in just a moment. And I'm feeling a little hungry. How about Sugar Bird?
Let's go.
Fried chicken.
Come on.
Here we go. I came just in time.
Come on.
Ice cream Sunday.
You guys are speaking my language. Let's go.
This is a low lunch today.
I love it.
Let's get a little protein right here to start.
I love it.
Go easy over here now.
I ain't working Saturday, but I may stay.
The only reason you came out here.
You're absolutely right, Coach.
Oh, man. You kidding me?
Hey.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Love it.
We're in the Steel City to launch a new crop of NFL careers.
Welcome to the NFL Draft.
These stars will hear their names called
All my life I've been searching for something.
by one of the 32 teams. Every player selected traveled their own paths to get here.
With the first pick in the NFL Draft.
Some athletes were immediate standouts the moment they put on pads.
Touchdown!
Others flew under the radar, making a name for themselves and catching everyone by surprise.
My goodness! You gotta be kidding me! I find something in there. Something just with me.
The NFL Draft brings us together for a weekend of celebration
This is the most special moment of my life.
in front of their family and the fans. A new journey begins now.
Top of the hour on a picture-perfect night in Pittsburgh. 91st NFL Draft. And the first player the Steelers ever selected in the draft, 1936, a man called William Shakespeare, former Notre Dame star. Also in their draft history, they took Byron Whizzer White, who went on to the U.S. Supreme Court as a justice. What future stars might be selected tonight? A lot of them will know how to sing along to Carmen, Ohio and dot the I in Script, Ohio. Maybe there will be 5 Buckeyes selected in the first round tonight. Field Yates mock draft. A plethora of guys who wore the scarlet and gray for Ryan Day. Was lifted Ohio State perennial contender national championship a couple of seasons ago, and we're pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Buckeyes, Ryan Day. So what's it like for you tonight to have all of these guys testing where you're going to be at the right time in the green room?
I said the first thing that I'm thinking about is the fact that, like somebody asked, what are you thinking about tonight? The fact that I wish they were coming back for their senior year. That's the first thing. No, I'm excited for these guys. You know, when you start off in the recruiting process talking about a dream and then see it come to fruition on a night like tonight, it's great. They're all going to be in the green room with their families, so fired up.
How would you even put, you both coach Caleb Downs, how would you, in the last couple of years, especially with Matt Patricia's system last year, how would you try to quantify what he meant, not just the physical attributes, but seems like a tone setter in the entire building?
I think the first thing for me that surprised me when Caleb came to Ohio State is that he was a mess. You know, I don't know what they were doing in Alabama.
That really doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. I mean, it took us a while to get him going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Some of the bad habits out.
I don't know what was going on. I will say this, and I don't know how you feel, Coach. I feel like, you know, he was probably the most NFL ready as an underclassman that I had ever been around. And certainly when he came to us, he could have played in the NFL then. And he was coached by the best. He grew up in a way that he loved football. You know, from a young age, he just lived football. And I think the best thing that he does is he makes everybody on the field better. And that first year that he was with us, I thought the second half of the season, we put him in a place to be successful, to be more of an impact on the game. And I think that's going to be important wherever he goes and whatever team takes him.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about it. I really thought that when Caleb Downs was a freshman playing for us, if he'd have gone out for the draft, he might have been the first safety taken in the draft. Yeah. I think he's improved tremendously under your coaching staff, and Matt did a great job of using him the way I think he should be used, but he's a phenomenal player. But what I would love to ask you is, you have 4 guys that probably get drafted in the top 10.
Yeah.
What makes these guys special?
Yeah. Well, I think it's their approach. You know, when you look at Sonny Styles and when you look at Caleb, I've talked to some GMs and head coaches that said some of these interviews are the best, you know, we've had in a long time. And I think it's the football IQ, it's the maturity. You know, when you see a talented guy, as you know they're going to get to the NFL. They all want to be first-round draft picks. The question is how soon you're going to get there. Right. And that's on the young man to do that. They're self-motivated. They understand what the expectation is of a big-time player. They understand what it's like to be on a big stage. And I think, you know, whoever drafts these guys tonight are going to get guys that are going to walk in day one and act like vets.
Right.
Coach, Arvell Reese, just a raw talent, very athletic, numbers are through the roof. I saw him at the Combine. He said that he hasn't scratched the surface of his potential yet. Tell us what you think is his potential. What's his ceiling?
He's young, just 20 years old, just turning 21. I think he probably has the highest ceiling of all the guys, in the first round today. He can play on the ball at the first level. He can also play off the ball. Not a lot. And when I say on the ball, I mean like he can play like a defensive end or he can play like a linebacker.
His hand in the dirt, huh?
Yeah, and I think the thing that happens with Arvell is he keeps the game simple. Okay. I think a lot of guys can make the game really complicated and get them. He keeps it simple, and because of that, he plays fast and he plays physical. Yeah.
Do you think he in the NFL, and it depends on where he goes, is he a first and second off ball, third down, put him in a rush spot, or do you think he's an off ball linebacker or a defensive end? Where do you see him being?
I think what's special about Arvell is he can probably do whatever you train him to do. He's that special of a talent. I just think this year was the first year in Matt's defense where he was able to do both and play both. And then he was next to Sonny every play, learning a little bit more about how to diagnose plays and anticipate. So, I think he's got a high ceiling, and I think whatever system he's in, he can learn it, and then he's going to build from there.
You've had so many freaky receivers go through there. What's different about Tate? What makes him unique?
He came in as a good route runner. He's a smooth player. He can run in and out of breaks. He's very intelligent, very mature. He's been through adversity already in his life. And I think that, his game translates well to the NFL. He's a deep threat. I just think it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. When he walked on our campus, he had the mindset he was going to be a first-round draft pick. He went about the business of doing that, had his best year this year, and I'm excited to see him walk into one of these clubs and be a wide receiver day one.
Wow. As a defensive guy, I always look for a guy like Arvell, because you'd love to be able to play the guy off the ball and then get in a five-man front where he can play outside backer and do it effectively and still rush. And there's very few guys that can do that, and he can do that.
And that's exactly what he did this year. And I thought Matt recognized that. And, his background of what he had done with some different guys in the NFL, it's funny listening to him. He says, I can use him like this guy. I can use him like Jamie Collins. And then he actually does it. And I think for Arvell, being a year in that style of play, it's an NFL style defense, he can quickly learn what they're going to do with him, whatever team drafts him.
College football question, 12, 16, 24, 5 years from now, what's your best guess as we sit here? What would be?
Kirk, I think about it a lot. And to me, it isn't right now even about a number as it is. I think we need to organize how the postseason is set up. I mean, the time and the gap between the last game of the season and when you play that first game, it's just not good for the game. It's not good for young people. And so I think that's the first thing. I do think we need to expand the playoffs. I don't think there's any question about that. But I think we need to reorganize how it's all set up. And I think once the last game's played, we got to get right into the playoffs and play and end the season sooner so we can get the portal going sooner, which makes sense to open up classes the first week of January.
You get rid of the conference championship games, you think?
I'm not going to say that. I'm going to get the conference out of trouble. People are going to get upset.
He just got killed. Meanwhile, Ryan, congratulations on everything, man. Look forward to seeing all your guys drafted tonight. We appreciate the time you spend with us. And before we solve all of the ills and all of the questions of college football, Molly McGrath has caught up with Sonny Styles.
Between these two, we got it all figured out.
I think about it a lot.
Sonny Styles and I are coordinating over here on the red carpet. And Sonny, you told me you've been dreaming of this moment since you were a little kid. What is it like to be here?
Oh, it's just a blessing. So excited to be here. I remember being a little kid, thinking about walking the stage, being at these events, and it's finally here. So excited to be here, but more importantly, I'm more excited to get to work.
Your dad, Lorenzo Styles Sr., won a Super Bowl in his NFL career. How did that inspire you to be great?
Yeah, I think just growing up, my dad was my superhero. Even before I even knew he was a football player, always looking up to him. He was the role model, what a father was supposed to look like, a son. A hard worker, discipline, all these things. As I got older, starting to learn about who he was as a football player, it made him even cooler than me. So he taught me what hard work looks like. He helped me I chose that I wanted to, do something great with football, and he helped me get there.
Cherish that time with Dad tonight.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
The only thing you can say about Sonny, he's not the fastest guy in his own family. Brother Lorenzo ran like a 4.27. DraftKings Sportsbook, new customers bet $5, get $300 in bonus bets. If your bet wins, download the app, use the promo code alumni when you sign up. Have you done any of this, Stanford Steve Coughlin?
How we doing? I'm just wondering, Kirk, coach is still over there. You want to get another question in?
Hey, it's like him. They got answers.
We got to keep it
we
tight.
Gotta ask
We
it.
got a lot to get in.
Yeah.
We got stuff to do tonight, brother.
Trying to give some plus money numbers out there, guys. I thought these were great plus money numbers, get names off the radar. I look at Jordan Tyson as being the first wide receiver taken. He worked out last Friday. Everything looked great, so we took that. It's not as good of a price anymore. It's down to 130. Spencer Fano, first offensive lineman taken. Take a chance with that. The toughest thing is to believe what keeps coming out. Maui Noah supposedly with a back issue. Fano's tape is excellent, so I believe he's going to be the first lineman taken. And then looking at the teams in the back end of the first round, if they need O-line and wide receivers, I think they lean O-linemen. So we're going to go under wide receivers, 5.5 at plus money there in the first round.
You feel confident about those?
Not as much as I did, because like I said, these numbers, that was up around plus 200. Now it's down to plus 150, but I still like the feeling. The O-lineman, the drop-off is way larger than the wide receiver, so I think they want to go O-lineman late.
All right, some advice and counsel from Stanford Steve, the DraftKings Sportsbook. Tyson, first receiver, taken there, minus 115. You see the other one. What a scene. And aerial coverage is brought to you by Goodyear. Tried, tested, proven legendary. This is Goodyear. The blimp giving us a beautiful look at the rivers, the bridges in this spectacular city. First round of the NBA playoffs continues. NBA tip-off, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Game 4 between the Nuggets and the Timberwolves comes your way on Saturday. It's on ABC and available on the ESPN app as well. Fernando Mendoza with his family in Miami will join us live on College Game Day. Less than 2 hours until he hears his name called as the first overall pick by the Las Vegas Raiders. There's what you got on the DraftKings. As we mentioned earlier, bet 5, get $300 if your bet wins. It's paid instantly in bonus bets. Use the code alumni to make your bets.
today.
I learned from another quarterback that I was training with. He said, hey, there's so much clutter in social media. Social media is probably not the best place to be, especially with so many conflicting opinions. At that point, I deleted social media and famously only kept LinkedIn. No one's gonna trash talk you on LinkedIn because they have their job right there and they don't wanna get fired by their boss. So at that point, I was posting my professional updates. So I posted that I won the Heisman Trophy, and I also posted that we won the national championship, which is a huge thing. Those have been great updates that I've been able to put in my awards section. Just can't wait to post that I have a job, because right now I'm currently unemployed. I'm open to work and looking for a job.
We're less than 2 hours away from that problem being solved. Fernando Mendoza is going to join this group of quarterbacks in the common draft era. A couple of guys who did this before who weren't quarterbacks. Heisman national title, #1 overall pick. Cam Newton, Jameis Winston, Joe Burrow, and Fernando Mendoza will be the next to do it tonight when the Las Vegas Raiders make him the #1 overall pick in this draft. The Heisman Trophy winner, the Indiana quarterback, is with us now. Fernando, thanks for being with us. Now, I think I'm really fond of you. We've gotten to know each other a little bit. I did an interview about you today, and they were talking to me about all of these brands that you're representing now. And then here we come, and I think that's probably a free Rose Bowl shirt that you're rocking right now. Is this what we've got for the draft? We've got a suit sitting in the closet ready to go.
I do have a suit waiting in the closet. However, I want to represent the Rose Bowl, and it's an Adidas and Rose Bowl logo. Rose Bowl is a very special game for me and the team. I think it was a game that catapulted us to the whole thing.
I can't disagree with that.
No doubt about it. We were there.
We sure were. Fernando, I'd like to ask you, because having a lot of guys that were first-round draft picks, you're going to be the first guy picked in the draft, is how do you take this experience and make sure it's not the end, but it's the beginning? That's what I used to tell our players all the time. It's not about where you get drafted, it's what kind of career you have. So what kind of mindset do you have moving forward with the opportunity that you have?
Although our family celebrated tonight, like you said, this is not the end, this is just the beginning. Instead of the end of a great college career, it was great, however, that's done with. It's now time for the NFL. That's the main goal, to succeed and help my team win as many games as possible. And to really understand that and to see, unfortunately, in their past, there's been a lot of mishaps of people who've had that mindset. This is the end, they've made it. That is the exact opposite of my mindset, in which I want to go to a whole nother level. I have so much to improve, and I know my best football is ahead of me.
Great. Yeah, it's outstanding. Fernando, I know you probably get tired if you do ever hear all the analysts and the mock drafts and everybody assuming that you'll be going to the Raiders. For you, where do you think you grew the most? Where do you feel that you grew as a quarterback, whether it was the intangible aspect of the game, the ability to recognize coverage, have answers? Where did you grow from when you walked off the field at Cal to when you walked off the field at that national championship for IU?
I think there are two main aspects. Number one, my footwork, which still needs a lot of growth and a lot of improvement. However, it came a tremendous way, and I really exponentially grew that this year. And the second, anticipation. Anticipation with the routes, throwing them before their breaks. And then the third has to be coverage recognition. Be able to get a couple of tips and tells of what the defense is going to do or what they're not going to do before the pre-snap is a huge indicator and a huge indicator for success.
Fernando, I spoke with your parents, and they told me you're a guy who is not really comfortable talking about himself all the time because you're a team guy. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk about one of your teammates, D'Angelo Pons. What did he mean to the defense, and what type of teammate was he?
Well, first of all, the only reason I'm in this position is because I've had great teammates and coaches, and D'Angelo Pons is on the top of that list. He is the best corner I've ever played or playing with against. So he is the top of the totem pole, especially when it comes to cornerbacks. And to be able to play with him, he pushed me so much in practice. And to be quite honest, he gave me a lot of troubles and picked me off a couple of times. But whatever team gets him is going to get a special DB and a game changer.
Fernando, how does everybody looks at his height and they say, oh, he's in the NFL, is he going to be too short? You went up against him. How does he overcompensate for not being that 5'11", 6'1" corner? Because he makes plays, like you said.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it has two things that you can never defeat. One, physicality, and two, leverage. And those are two things that he has mastered at the top of the game. And that's a big reason of whether it was a receiver's understanding leverage or a defense of why we were so effective this year.
And that you were. Fernando, congratulations on everything. We can't wait to hear your name called in the draft tonight. Thanks for being so generous with your time to enjoy this evening, and can't wait to see a tremendous NFL career which is ahead of you.
Thanks, Fernando.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. God bless.
There is Fernando Mendoza. We'll hear more from him tonight on ABC's coverage of the draft. It is time now for our Heinz player interview. Heinz, of course, a staple around here. We go to Molly McGrath, who's with Ty Simpson.
Ty, this is such a special evening for you and your family. Why was it important for you to come here and experience all of this?
Yeah, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I couldn't pass it up. It was something that I've always dreamed of. I got to experience it last year with one of my best friends, and Tyler Booker, who went 12 overall to the Cowboys. So it was something that I wanted to experience with him and my family and all my friends. So I'm so blessed and just happy to be here.
And you're a coach's kid who grew up on the sidelines and in the film room. So what will an NFL locker room be getting in you?
Yeah, just a guy who loves ball, is a genuine a guy, and just a guy's guy. I want to make sure that people understand that I want to be a better teammate and a better person than anything else, right? Like everything else will come after that. And so that's what, when I go in the locker room, a guy who is just going to be able to attract people to him.
Well, good luck tonight. Thank you so much, Ty.
Thank you, Molly.
Molly, Ty, thank you very much. And Ty's most recent college coach, Kalen DeBoer, agreeing to a contract extension at Alabama. So some news there as Ty moves on to the next chapter. So will Ty Simpson go in the first round and make it 2 quarterbacks in the first round? Who is beyond that? Field Yates back with us now. Field, what else do we have in quarterbacks?
Yeah, Reese, you mentioned it. The big question tonight is, of course, whether Ty Simpson finds his way into the first round. Seems like there's been some buzz today. That's a very strong possibility. Beyond him, we have quarterbacks that won't likely go in the first round. But if you had said that 9 months ago, it might have seemed crazy, as we've got a trio of quarterbacks from big schools, big names, Carson Beck, and Garrett Nussmeier, and Drew Aller, who I believe came into this past season feeling like they would very much be a part of the first-round conversation. Wouldn't be surprised if we heard 1 or 2 of their names called on day 2 of the upcoming NFL draft. If teams kind of sift through this quarterback class, guys who have tons of experience, a lot of football intelligence, wasn't always perfect for them during their final college season. And kind of the wild card in this quarterback class, I believe, Reese, is Cole Payton from North Dakota State. A guy who was very patient, waited his turn to become a full-time starter this past year, has some comparisons of Taysom Hill in the NFL, just a left-handed version of it.
There was some talk, Field, about him changing positions permanently, but he did so well in the pre-draft process, and now all of a sudden he's generated a little bit of buzz. How do you look at this quarterback class beyond Mendoza?
We haven't really had a chance to talk a lot about this, but I've sat back and listened to a lot of people talk about, is Ty Simpson, going to be a first-rounder? I think Dan Orlovsky said that he maybe goes even ahead, which was crazy, that he might go ahead of Fernando.
Stop it.
He did that. He did that.
Come on.
I know. But I'm just, that was said. I'm just saying, nothing against Ty Simpson. I think we all saw what he could do, especially in Athens early in the year. I think they converted their first their first 8 third downs. We were just really impressed by what he did. Late in the year, it was a different story. If it wasn't quick game or rhythm dropping the ball out and he had to work through progressions, there was some hesitation. And it wasn't just him. It was the offense as a whole that was struggling. I just want to say that I hope he gets drafted tonight. I hope he has a great career. I just don't know why people aren't talking more about Carson Beck. Kid 6'5", 233 pounds, 2 years with the pressure of dealing with filling in for Georgia and Stetson Bennett and trying to keep that national championship run going. Endured that. Lost just 3 games when he was in Athens. Ends up going to Miami after a UCL surgery, and then ends up taking Miami all the way to the national championship. He's got every physical attribute you could ever want, Des. I know he's got some picks throughout his career, but I personally like that he's been through adversity, because it's going to be really hard up in the NFL. I'm surprised we're not hearing more about Carson Beck as a potential, you got it. Mendoza is one, and then to me it's a 2A, 2B when it comes to Carson Beck being right there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel the same exact way. When I watch like Orlowski and these other guys talk about the quarterback situation, I'm wondering why Carson Beck's name isn't mentioned. Now, I hear it all the time because I live in Miami, but I agree with Kirk. You want a guy who's been through the fire. I mean, he followed Stetson Bennett at Georgia, but then he went to Miami and followed Cam Ward. So he has some big shoes to fill. He's played in some huge games. I mean, he's had a lot of reps. There's nothing that he hasn't seen out there. And you're looking at Ty Simpson with just a small sample size, 15 games. And people talk about how he struggled later in the season. Let me tell you guys what I know, not what I think. Later in the season is when these teams start playing ranked opponents. They start playing better teams. And then that's when you really see or realize just how good, how great they are or are not. So that's what I've seen as far as the progression of these quarterbacks. I'm with you, though. I think that Carson Beck's name should be up there with Ty Simpson's.
So what happens if Ty Simpson would have played as many games as Carson Beck?
That would have been great.
We have a greater sample size to evaluate him.
I think he needs experience. The guy played 15 games. At times, he played outstanding football. I think he has all the physical attributes and the physical talent to be a really, really good player. I think if he goes to a team that he doesn't have to play immediately and he can continue to develop, Ty Simpson could have an outstanding pro career. He's a fine young man. He's a good athlete. He can make all the throws. I think that maturity is being able to make the right decisions on a consistent basis. And I think he needs a little more experience to be able to play with that kind of maturity. And when he does, I think he's going to be really good.
And one of the things, too, that happened with Ty late in the season is because he was taking some medicine to deal with an injury. It caused a great deal of weight loss. So he was dealing with injury, lost 20, 25 pounds. So sort of a shell of himself physically by the end. But you mentioned Carson Beck. There are a lot of people in the Carson Beck camp, not tonight, but tomorrow night, that maybe these folks in black and gold will find their quarterback of the future. I mean, they're not the only team for sure, but there are those around who like Carson Beck a lot.
When it comes to you're going to put him in some shorts and throw a football. He's as pretty of a passer as we have in this draft. I mean, he's had some games that make you go, 4 picks in this game, 3 picks in that game. That's been part of his growing process.
But we talked about DNA of making plays in critical situations. I think that's the big question with him.
Fair.
Well, tonight we think we'll have a maximum of 2 quarterbacks selected in the first round. But of course, there's always those draft picks. There's always looking ahead to next year. That's what everybody wants to do. Surely there will be the savior for our franchise coming up in the next crop of quarterbacks. So here is Pete Thamel. Next year, a bumper crop of quarterbacks, I'm sure, Pete.
Hope lies on Saturdays, Reese, right after back-to-back lackluster QB classes. The 2027 class, according to scouts and executives, projects as an unusually deep class. I polled 10 NFL scouts and executives and said, give me your 1, 2, 3, way too early, obviously, for 2027. Dante Moore from Oregon, as you see here, was the runaway winner. He, Arch Manning, and Julian Sayin were the quarterbacks who got first-place votes. There's a lot of time and obviously thousands, myriads of snaps ready for these to change and for other guys to emerge. I think the most interesting takeaway from talking to all those scouts and executives, guys, came from Oklahoma State's Pro Day. That's a school that might not have many pros in this upcoming draft. Drew Mestemaker, the transfer quarterback from North Texas, threw at that Pro Day. I talked to 2 scouts who were there. They were both blown away seeing Mestemaker in person after his transfer from North Texas. So maybe this year's Fernando Mendoza out of nowhere starts in Stillwater this fall.
Well, I was thinking all those scouts and executives when we did this a year ago, they were all locked in on Mendoza being the #1 overall pick, right?
Obviously.
Nobody was. And I don't care how many guys you put up there and how many votes you get. It's going to be all about how these guys play next year. And they got to stay focused on playing well.
Mendoza wouldn't have been on any list.
No,
like
nobody.
Week 5 UFL
wasn't
matchup.
either.
Saturday night, St. Louis Battlehawks, Orlando Storm, 7 Eastern on ESPN. Sunday afternoon on ABC, doubleheader. Columbus Aviators and the Houston Gamblers, noon Eastern, and then the Louisville Kings, the Dallas Renegades comes your way at 3 Eastern, 2 Central Time as the UFL season rolls on. Nick gave you his all defensive draft team. Now we'll go to the other side of the ball when you come back.
ESPN's Draft Takeover is powered by Shopify.
Coming off the bus, our guest picker is Owen Gray. He's the Make-A-Wish young man who wanted his wish to be the game guest picker.
Tonight, the 12th man's going to show up. A&M's going to upset him big. I think it's going to be like a 7 to 14-point win victory. Wow. Yeah, they're going to do it. Listen to it.
Great pick. I'm telling you, it's a great pick.
8 years ago, our friend Owen Gray had his Make-A-Wish moment granted as a College Game Day guest picker. Owen's wish shaped his future. This year's Wish Ball, held earlier this month, Owen was honored as the inaugural recipient of the Starblazer Award. It recognizes a wish alumnus whose journey continues to inspire and uplift. Great recognition as we kick off Disney's Week of Wishes, built on a legacy that ESPN is proud to be a part of in helping make kids' wishes come true. Owen still works in media now. We see him from time to time. He's carved out a great career for himself, and we were glad to be able to have that moment with him. And most of all, we're delighted that he continues to be healthy. Here in Pittsburgh, the crowd is starting to build. The estimates that we'll get from the NFL, the official numbers later, saying 500,000 maybe. 3 days of good weather, maybe you get to 750,000. Wow. We're inside 90 minutes until we start this 2026 NFL draft. It is covered on a variety of platforms, including 7th annual Pat McAfee Draft Spectacular. Their stage right next door to ours. Saw Pat up there just a moment ago. It's on TikTok, it's on the app. You can see it on YouTube, on X. Entire gang will be there. The special Pittsburgh flavor coming up on the Pat McAfee Draft Spectacular. Field Yates with his best available players on offense. We talked to Fernando Mendoza earlier, Jeremiah Love a little while ago, and now Arizona State wide receiver Jordan Tyson, who's with Molly McGrath.
Jordan, I hear congratulations are in order as your first niece was born just last night. What has the last 24 hours been like for your family?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Obviously, I'm an uncle now, feel a little older, but my mom's grandma also passed away last night, so it's also been an emotional one for her, but we're fighting through it, trying to make the most mess out of the situation, and yeah, it's all part of God's plan.
When you look back at this draft process and tonight, what do you want to remember most?
Just everything, like even the small things, like the painting that we just did, like that's super cool to me, and just all the small little opportunities that the NFL has provided us with. So I'm just trying to look at everything in the best light possible.
And your brother Jalen was drafted in the 2024 NBA draft. I understand you're wearing his shoes from his draft tonight?
Same exact shoes he wore. He couldn't be with us here today because he has game obviously at the same time as us, so had to bring him here somehow.
Yeah, he'll be playing for the Cavaliers, and I'm sure you guys will be watching that tonight in your pod.
For sure, we're going to have the iPad on for sure.
Awesome. Well, enjoy it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Miracle of modern technology as Jordan can watch his brother play in the NBA playoffs. Joey Galloway is back here with us. Nick, we talked about your all-defense draft team. Now what about on the offensive side of the ball? Let's take a look at the starting lineup before we start breaking down the extra players coming in the different personnel packages. Mendoza, of course, the quarterback. But you got a couple of guys up front, big body guys who could be huge for you. Let's start with
Francis Mauigoa. This guy is physical. He is big. Look at that wide body. I like when you look at a guy from behind and he's got a wide ass. I got to say that. But he passes off the game there and shows how athletic he is to pass off the game. And watch him jolt the defender on this one. Boom. Jolts the defender, finishes the block. All right, they're out the gate on the perimeter. Lots of talk about Caden Proctor, who started for us as a freshman back when I was at Alabama. But this guy's probably one of the biggest, most physical guys. You're going to see him here. Block down on the 3 technique, knock him so the guy can take over the block, get to the second level, block the linebacker. This guy's got lots of talent. Here he is pass blocking. You see the range that he has, the balance and body control. He's able to anchor and protect the quarterback. So this guy's got a tremendous amount of upside. Some people would like to see him play with more consistency.
Kenyon. You have the tight ends here, a lot of 12, 13 personnel. Are you going 14 personnel here with all these tight ends?
I'm going to tell you, Kenyon Sadiq is a mismatched player at tight end. So this guy can run and beat you vertically down the field. He's a nightmare mismatch guy. Here you see him running the seam, making a great catch, has great hands. And he's a very exceptionally good perimeter blocker. Watch him right here. Get on this guy, feet in hands, hands inside, driving this guy to the boundary. Probably needs to improve inline blocking a bit. And then he's a great run after catch guy. You see him here catching the ball in the flat. You'll see his explosiveness, acceleration to be able to move and make plays. The receiver group is outstanding and deep. But Carnell Tate, to me, is one of the smoothest guys in this group. So show the tape on this guy. When he has free access to run down the field and nobody's bumping him, you see him get on the safety here, give him a little double move, great at catching the 50-50 ball, scores a touchdown, makes a big play. Here you're going to see him in the red zone where he's been very effective. back shoulder, stick, back shoulder, great hands, strong hands. This is one of the most impressive catches I've seen all season long. He runs a seam here against cover 2. We're going to change the camera angle and show this guy make this catch. Great catch, hangs onto the ball, shows toughness. Great at the 50-50 ball. I really like Carnell Tate as my favorite receiver in this draft.
Hey, Coach, you talked about toughness, and he's one tough competitor. But I like a guy named Makai Lemon. I mean, that wide receiver, he was on your list, too, from USC. One of the guys who, at the beginning of the season, you didn't hear a lot about him, not a lot of hype. But as the season started to develop, he became the go-to guy for the Trojans. Let me show you exactly what made Makai Lemon so special. And he was the Biletnikoff winner, which is given to the top receiver in college football. He's at the top in the slot. They're going to throw him like a fade stop, back shoulder ball. Watch how he goes up with a lot of aggression. Goes for a 50-50 ball, comes down with it, and in the process, snaps the defensive back's left wrist. I mean, this guy's just really physical. Here he is in the slot right here on the hash mark. He's going to run a comeback to the quarterback. He pushes the DB, but watch how he comes back to the ball. Joey, this guy's a yak monster. Yards after contact, yards after catch, you name it, is what he does. Very physical, and just like Carnell Tate, he blocks when the ball is not in his hands, too, which a lot of guys like myself really appreciate.
I don't know what you're talking about that blocking stuff. I don't want to talk about that blocking stuff. When I look at this offensive team, I absolutely love Mendoza. He's the only quarterback in this draft, but I see that I look at him and say, and his mind looks like it's moving at an NFL pace. And that's the problem with these other quarterbacks that worry me. When you say a guy has to develop, you just never know if they're going to develop into this NFL way of playing football. And then Jeremiah Love, to me, is the best player in this draft. Caleb Downs probably second for me, but Jeremiah Love is a guy that looks like he's NFL ready. We always measure 40-yard dashes and verticals and all these things. The one thing you can't measure is how well a guy can adjust to the NFL game. How quickly can it happen? We keep talking about ceilings and floors and all these things. You never know till a guy shows up. Jeremiah Love and Mendoza look like guys that look like they're NFL ready. Tomorrow, if you had to play a game, you could give them a game plan and say, let's go play.
Yeah, for a year that's supposed to be down for the draft, we got a lot of players here that we're excited about. Coach had 22 guys, I think, on his all-offensive team. He threw in 4 tight ends.
We got to change personnel.
And the reason I like the 4 tight ends, I think it's really relevant to, I brought this up on a call, where the NFL has been going and kind of trending over the last couple of years. There's a ton of 12 and 13 personnel sets, meaning 1 back and either 2 tight ends or 3 tight ends. And this is not a goal line or short yardage package. This is 1st and 10 at your own 20, starting a drive. They'll come out with 2 and 3 tight ends. So I think there's a premium right now in the NFL on tight ends like Sadiq, who have to maybe learn, because they're more of receivers at 245 pounds, they're going to have to learn how to become more physical. But, man, there is that NFL right now, they are starving to find guys to create those matchup opportunities. And it looks like we got a great group after Coach put 10 of them up here on the board.
I'm used to coaching guys like Joey and Des. They're situational. Joey even admitted he won't block. Guy won't block. You got to take him out.
I was disappointed when you put it up there, and I seen 3 wide receivers and 1 running back. I thought for sure you were going 21. I thought for sure it was going to be 2 backs and 1 receiver out there somewhere.
Just to stick it to you.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Best skill position players. Now, I know you're familiar with how the draft works. Tonight is only for the first round. 32 men will hear their name called as first-round draft picks in the NFL, but not every team has a pick coming into the first round, subject to trades.
Yep.
Jets, Giants, Browns, Chiefs, Dolphins, Cowboys have multiple picks, while Bengals, Colts, Green Bay, Jaguars, because of the Travis Hunter trade last year, along with the Broncos. Broncos also made a trade for Jalen Waddle, and the Falcons with no picks in the first round. So, we've had a philosophy in some camps of forget them picks and just try to get some players. What would you say, Nick, with the idea that you have to be fluid given the situation? What would be the overall draft philosophy as it pertains to what we're going to hear a lot tonight? Need, value.
Well, we talked about need and value.
But the big thing is if you have some extra picks, you can manipulate the draft. If you don't, the draft can manipulate you. Most people think you can draft whoever you want to draft. You got to draft who's available when you pick. So that makes it a little more difficult. Need or value, or can I move to get what I want in the right value because I have some extra picks? I think that's the key. I think there's going to be more people in this draft because after you get past those first 12 guys or so that are trying to draft down, they're going to try to be getting back because you could probably draft the same guy from 20 to 60 because there's a lot of good players, but not the premier guy that you're going to see in those first 12 picks.
You guys think we'll see movement tonight? You think we'll see? There's some teams with a couple.
The news guys are saying yes.
Yeah, there's already
but
teams.
Where are you going to move, though? You know what I mean? When we talk about this draft, and we always think there's going to be movement, well, there has to be players, like Coach said, that you want to either come get.
How about Jeremiah Love? And Arizona's sitting
right there at the top.
There's rumors right now that are they going to go with Arvell Reese? Are they going to go with David Bailey, depending on what the Jets do? And would they just take the best player on the board, like Coach talks about? There's Jeremiah Love. What if somebody behind him says, "We'll move up. We'll move. We got to have Jeremiah Love."
That's what
I'm talking about.
It's players like that are worth moving up for, because once you get past those guys, then you start to question who's worth moving up for, because I can't move back unless there's someone up here that you want to come get. And it's interesting to me, when you look at the NFL in 2025, total number of players that played in games, only 13% of those players were first-round players drafted in the draft. So when we look at these drafts, we think, well, I mean, there's nothing here. Most of the NFL is not first-round guys. There's a lot of talent in this draft, and I think they'll be great. I just don't think there's guys that jump off the board, but there's going to be some great players in this draft.
You know, we really lived that. My last year in Miami, we were picking 16. We wanted to go back so bad or go up and get one of the top 12 guys, but we didn't have a 2, so we couldn't get up far enough, and nobody ever called for us to go back, so we had to pick, and it didn't turn out great for us either.
Didn't work out.
I think he took Jason Allen, right? He was back from Tennessee. Well, he Muscle Shoals Trojan. But also, every Alabama fan is very thankful you didn't take Aaron Rodgers with that 16th pick. You might have been swinging it around in Miami for a while. We're going to have movement tonight, Steve?
I believe so, because I think it's about the order of guys going, right? The 2 top defensive ends. Where do they go, 2 and 3, and then Love goes 4? So now you have all the receivers and all the tackles, and the teams have the preference. To Coach's point, you know who you want. Can you go get them? It depends on the order. Once a receiver goes, there's going to be a run of them, and once an offensive tackle goes, there's going to be a run of them. So that's where I think you're going to see the movement.
It's going to be interesting to see what the Jets do it too, right? Because there's some people are saying Bailey, some people are saying Reese. Who knows where they go, and then that affects 3, and then we're all sitting around saying, where's Love going to go? I don't think he gets by 4.
And then the Giants at 5 and 10. They can do the most work moving
It seems
around.
like the receivers are pretty deep. I think the receivers, you could pass on a receiver early and get a guy maybe late, like a Casey Concepcion type of receiver will still be there. I don't know that you need to make a run on receivers. Tackles might be a little different. Linebackers, edge might be a little different.
I agree with the receivers. And you mentioned Casey Concepcion. Like, this guy is not getting a lot of publicity. He's not getting a lot of talk at all.
Yeah.
And he's a guy who actually can return punts, too. So you can get a lot of value out of a guy like Casey Concepcion.
Well, I know of a guy who was drafted very early in the first round that they got a lot of value out of returning kicks and punts. Super Bowl MVP. They went all the way back. Touchdown.
I thought you was talking about me, Reese.
I would compliment you if you ever gave me a chance before you compliment yourself.
I got Nick over here beating me up. I got to look this way for some compliments.
If you let me speak a word in edgewise, I'd say something nice about you too.
When Joey came to our practice, and I was coach, he called more pass interference than anybody in the history of ball.
The red carpet is active as the draft class. Those who are here in Pittsburgh are making their way to the green room. Might see a lot of those U's being flashed tonight.
College Game Day is built by the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
It's time to get the show started. Over the next 3 days, we will welcome in the next generation of stars.
Getting my name called in the NFL draft be a dream come true. There's been so many people in my family and in my circle that supported me.
My mom and me, we always joke the draft party is as much hers as it is mine because of how much she's helped me.
Hearing my name called, I may cry, to be honest. It's just a dream that I've had since I was 4 years old.
I didn't work hard just to get to this moment. I worked hard to play at a high level in this league and make a name for myself.
And the fact that I'm even here with the ability to get drafted, my younger self would be freaking out.
Everything just gonna play back in my head, playing football with my brother, everything that I had to go through to get to this moment.
This is definitely a big milestone in my life. I can't freaking wait.
The anticipation is thick here in Pittsburgh. We're closing in on an hour, just over an hour away from the start of this 2026 NFL Draft. Last minute check-in. Let's go to Pete Thamel.
Yeah, Reese, the biggest intrigue calling around to coaches and scouts today is who's number 5. There's a conversational consensus around scouts and around organizations on who the first 4 picks will be, maybe just not the order. That's obviously Fernando Mendoza, Arvell Reese, David Bailey, and Jeremiah Love. At 5, remember, the Giants have the 5th and the 10th pick. We could see Sonny Styles. We could see Caleb Downs. We could maybe even see Jordan Tyson, who the Giants have done a tremendous amount of work on. And from there at 6, Cleveland has been active in the trade market. They really want to tackle. Did they take one there? Did they trade back? I know they've done a lot of work on Monroe Freeling, the tackle from Georgia. So the intrigue comes when the draft really starts to unspool at that 5th spot.
Pete, can't wait. There's always so much drama, so much anticipation. The guys waiting on those calls to be made, and then once the picks are made, somebody has got to produce. So if we're going to do that, we might as well start doing some predictions. So the first guy that is going to be taken in this draft is Fernando Mendoza by the Las Vegas Raiders. But the question I have for you is, you look ahead to the upcoming NFL season, who's going to be the offensive rookie of the year in the NFL this year?
You know, we just mentioned his name, a wide receiver from Texas A&M, Casey Concepcion. A lot of people aren't talking about him. I'm a huge fan. I think he's a guy who can come in and make a difference instantaneously. Not only as a wide receiver, he's going to be held on wheels in the slot, but as a return man too. I think it's going to be Casey Concepcion.
I think Jeremiah Love, because of the versatility this guy has as a player. They can use him as a wideout. They can use him as out of the backfield. He's going to be a mismatch guy. I think he's going to carry the ball and be able to run for, very productive yards. I just think this guy's going to make a huge impact.
Whoever Andy Reid or Sean McVay take are my picks. No, I'm going to go with Dez. I think Casey Concepcion as well. And the main reason I think that, I like how he plays with a chip on his shoulder. He'll be able to get involved in return game. But his yards after the catch, he's like a running back with a chip on his shoulder. I love watching him with the ball in his hands. He's going to do great up there.
He got a great year at Texas A&M, started his career at NC State. How about the other side of the ball? Who will be the defensive rookie of the year?
Oregon safety Dylan Thineman. He's a guy who started as a freshman at Purdue, and then he transferred to Oregon, and he just played lights out all season long. He was on Nick Saban's all-defensive team.
Well,
I'm going with my guy. Everybody was. I'm going Dylan Thineman.
Well, I hate predictions. So I'm taking the 2 guys that have the most production on the defensive side of the ball in the draft, Caleb Downs and David Bailey. Those 2 guys have the most production. So hopefully they'll carry over.
So it's a co-rookie of the year?
Co-rookie of the year. Tie vote.
You got to pick one. Which one? Caleb?
I'll have to take my man, Caleb Downs.
There you go. I'm going with the best corner, Mansour Delane. I think he has a chance. Virginia Tech, early in his career, decided to go into the SEC and play at LSU. Had a monster year this past year. Dealt with some injuries late. I think he's going to be turnkey, walk into the league, be outstanding. I can't wait to see what he can do.
Okay, who will be most NFL ready when they show up?
CC Mawinoa, offensive guard for the University of Miami. This guy is very hungry. He's determined. He's nasty. He's a guy who's very, very, very physical, especially in that guard-to-guard area. I think it's going to be Mawinoa.
I think Fano
from Utah. You know, everybody talks about the guy has short arms, but if you have good core strength and you're strong enough, you can survive a tackle with short arms, and I think he's going to be a really good one.
I'm going with the guy that you mentioned earlier as the Rookie of the Year. I think Caleb Downs was probably ready when he got done playing for Coach his freshman year. He's had 2 years to really develop. They've asked him to do so many different things with Jim Knowles, his sophomore year, then Matt Patricia this past year. He's so versatile, does so many. He can be a big nickel, a big dime, a deep safety. I think he's the most ready to go.
Ryan Day was with us earlier in College Game Day, and he said when he arrived in Columbus from Alabama, he felt as if he could play in the NFL right then.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get a gym. You start looking at those positions, running back, safety. How quickly will Jeremiah Love and Caleb Downs go off the board? That's going to do it for us here on College Game Day tonight. We'll be back on ABC focusing on all of the journeys of the players to get to this point as we cover the draft from all angles. Pat McAfee Draft Spectaculars next to us, and of course the NFL pick by pick with the draft on ESPN. On what is a spectacular night in Pittsburgh. The terrible towels are out and waving. The Steelers will pick 21st tonight, and they can't wait to get things started for this draft in 2026.
I'm in fear for my life from the long arm of the law. Lawman is putting into my running, and I'm so far from my home. Oh, mama, I can hear you a-crying. You're so scared and all alone. Hangman is coming down from the